All righty, what's going on, ladies and gents? Welcome back to the channel for another weekly update. Hope everybody is having a lovely day, lovely start to their weekend. And with that being said, let's dive into the TA. Guys, we got a pretty crazy week going on here. So let's talk about it and what we are going to be looking for into next week. Got some interesting stuff for you. And I am just going to say, I do think we saw a short-term low get put in today before we continue higher next week. And I'm going to give you my reasoning here to start off the video. All right. So first things first, it does start with, the daily time frame over here. We did print these nice lower wicks here on, most daily candlesticks. Weekly candlesticks, questionable. The Mag 7 stocks on the weekly chart, questionable. But if we're just paying attention to Friday's daily candlestick here, we got a crap ton of lower wicks to talk about. We got some hammer candlesticks put in today at some unique places. So we're going to go through that throughout this video, but I'm going to start here on the weekly time frame. Over here in SPY, I am just going to point out we are in a weekly uptrend. And if you just look at every time over the past few years that you've been in a weekly uptrend, all right, and you had these, red bars here, and you got that first green bar, you typically saw the end of your pullback there, your downturn. All right, if we are going to continue lower off of last week's ugly red bar, we were probably going to see another red bar this week. We did not see that. We saw a green bar. We saw one with a narrow body and a nice upper wick there, all right? So wicks are larger than the body. I'm just pointing out, all right? You could, come to your own thesis, come to your own conclusion, but I'm going to, go over my thesis on why I do think we saw a short-term bottom get put in today, and now I do think we are going to be continuing higher, okay? Well, not even today. Earlier this week, we were actually lower than where we were today. But I do think, this was the short-term bottom, for this pullback we were seeing. And now I think we're going to continue on up. And, maybe we dance around here for a little bit. But I think we're probably going to come back up and test these highs. Okay? But, just on the weekly time frame, I'm going to go over SPY right after this too. But, just take a look at it. After all of your big, fat, red bars here, you got your green bar, you're good. All right. Last week could have been something like this, and we could have continued lower this week, but we did not. All right. You had an ugly red bar here. What happened? Green candlestick, and you shot back up. All right. This specific candlestick setup here on the weekly chart between, this two candle setup we got going on here, it reminds me of this right here. I think we have a very similar candlestick to what we got going on over here. What happened? You gapped up the following week, following Monday, and then you continued to take out that, upper wick there. I think we got a solid shot at doing that this coming week. All right. Now we're going to come over here to SPY. Don't worry, guys. We're going to go over the levels we're watching individually on each one of these guys, but I'm just, I want to start the video off with this because I think it is important. Then we're going to jump over to Mr. VIX after this. VIX, the volatility index, we'll talk about how that closed out. All right, but you got the same thing going on over here on SPY, the S&P 500. Big fat red candlestick here. The sky is falling. Everyone thought the market was crashing before over here. We did not. Newsflash, we did not here on this channel. We were looking for the dip to be bought. Although we didn't go straight up to all-time highs, we did call for, hey, we think we're going to be coming up here into the golden pocket, and then we put on the brakes and said, we don't know what's going to happen here. We do know if you break above 603.10 here, you're probably going to start chugging along to 609.07. Guess what, guys? Guess what? It did not go straight up. It pulled back. But on that day of pullback, that one day of pullback we got a nice lower wick to close out the day. And, just coming back over the weekly chart, just, want to get this out the way here. You got these big, fat, ugly, red bars, all right? So the last week could have been something like that. What happened, all right? Next time, you got that nice wide-bodied red bar. We did not get that this week, ladies and gents. We did not get that this week. We're in a major uptrend here. It is a rather aggressive uptrend, and pullbacks are going to remain buying opportunities in that uptrend until proven otherwise. Right now, guys, we haven't been proven otherwise. All right. This was your last swing low. Notice how we are, well above that right now. Like, it's going to take a lot here to do some damage to the weekly chart, which means the dips, the pullback, they will remain buying opportunities. Okay? But, you could keep going back, and we got the same thing I was pointing out over there on QQ's weekly chart right here. I think we look, pretty similar to this. And even if it's just going to, get a little bounce and, start dancing around here, that's anyone's guess. Who knows? I think we're probably next week going to go up, and I think we're probably going to start pushing back up to all-time highs. But in that case, we are going to need to take out 603.10. It's the same thing we were watching for last week. We were looking for the big, aggressive bounce here. What we didn't know was what was going to happen in the golden pocket. We definitely pointed out, hey, if sellers are going to step in, it's going to be right here. All right? I'm going to point out how things are, setting up here in this video, and I'm looking forward to next week. Okay? But, it's the same thing over here. Okay? Notice how, you're in a downtrend all of 2022. Yeah, you could get these green bars. And then there's that. But we are in an aggressive uptrend. Aggressive uptrend going on here. Okay? And, in that uptrend, typically, you're getting the red bars or you get the green bar. Pullback is over. Okay? It's been that way for, a very long time. Even if we're just going to consolidate, I don't think we're going much lower than what we did today. I really don't. All right? Now let's go over, the second reason. Okay? Still on all of these four major indices here. We're just going to come down to the 15-minute time frame. We'll cover all of these things later on after I get this out of the way. We have these inverse head and shoulders patterns on every single one of the four major indices. What do we also have marking our intraday bottom? We pointed this out today, intraday. You're going to look at SPY here. You're going to look at QQ with the 15-minute bullish divergence. You're going to look at IWM with the 15-minute bullish divergence. You're going to look at DIA with the 15-minute bullish divergence. Typically, guys, when you get all of these things aligning like that, you start paying attention. They're going to mean something. All right? But all of these do have this inverse head and shoulders kind of look to you. That's QQ right there. We just went over SPY, so that's 2 out of 4 so far. What do you got over here on IWM? Same constructive bullish structure we got going on here. Your neckline would be right over here, right around our 220-240 level right there. Pop above there. Boom. Probably going to start pushing back up here into the supply zone. DIA. What do you have? All right. Now, keep in mind, we also do have those 15-minute bullish divergences on every single one of these that mark their intraday bottom. All right. We pay attention to the weekly and daily time frame, mainly on this channel. But if we see things on the smaller time frames, we will say things. They typically will lead to things intraday. All right. Now, what are we also going to take a look at? VIX. VIX's long upper wick today. That upper wick, guys, that is, 14% right there. You were up a whopping like 23% here at the highs. And you faded. You rejected your daily moving averages right here. And it does look poised to now come back down to this low. All right, I understand. You popped up like that. But typically, guys, I pointed out the other day, once you start selling, it's made up its mind. After these big spikes, you typically don't get much after that once you start selling. All right? So we can get these spikes of volatility, but at the end of the day, we saw how the daily closes went. And they were bullish across the board. I'm going to point them out in this video. I just pointed out, SPY and QQ over there. But they were bullish on, almost everything I'm looking at. Almost everything we cover in these videos, aside from Tesla. They were bullish closes here on the daily time frame. Weekly closes on the Mag 7 stocks, questionable. We'll go over those too. But on the daily time frame, we had a lot of bullish closes here, and then you have VIX over here looking like that. Now, the weekly candle, we're not going to speak on that, okay? I think the important thing is right over here. All right, so now let's go over some levels over here on SPY that you could pay attention to next week. Your support from where we are right now is going to be 593. You're going to get reactions around the level. Underneath 593, you watch 590.104. That marked their intraday bottom, guys. When you get these 15-minute bullish divergences happen at a key level there, hey, probably going to get a big reaction. You did indeed base around there and started pushing up. And boom, you formed our head to the inverse head and shoulders pattern off of that 15-minute bullish divergence, our 591.04 support. Guys, if you don't know how to put these levels on yourself, just take what I provide for absolutely no cost to you in these videos. They will serve you well. All right, underneath 591.04, guys, we are going to be watching the 0.618 Fibonacci retracement. Now, I pointed out today, intraday, that, hey, I think downside is limited. All right, and we're going to pop over to QQ in a sec because that's, really, it was, hey, SPY was coming in to 589, which was going to be your 0.618 fib. All right, your golden pocket started right there. We sold off from this golden pocket. This is golden pocket inception right here, baby. But QQ really gave us the hint there. So underneath 591, you're just going to be watching 589. Worst case scenario, 586.12. I don't think it gets tested, though. I think we saw the low for the swing down today. On the upside, as resistance, you're going to have 595.75. Above there, 597.78. Today's high. And then we're going to be watching 602.13 up to 603.10. All right. Expect sellers to step in between these levels right here. But if you take out 603.10, you pop your head above there, you're probably going to start chugging along up to 609.07 and make a new all-time high. That is SPY for you, ladies and gents. We're going to come over here to QQQ. What do we got cooking over here? Support is going to be 519.16. Then you're going to have your 0.618 Fibonacci retracement right here. That is from the most recent advance right here. All right. You got your reaction off there today, right at the bottom. So that's where you're going to be looking for buyers to step in. Worst case scenario, 515.58 down there, which is right by the 0.786 Fibonacci retracement level. Again, I don't think that is going to be tested on the upside. All right. This is your neckline here. All right, I know it's lopsided here, but we're going to call it a neckline for the inverse head and shoulders pattern. Break above 522.86, you probably get a straight shot up to 524.82. All right, then above there, you got 526.45. And then we're back in the golden pocket, baby. We're back up here, and we are watching 529.42, 531.24, and then 532.75. If you can get above, we'll call it 533. Probably going to start making your way up to 539.15. That is a decent move for you to participate in if you see the opportunity. All right. Above here, you look for price to start chugging along to up here. New all-time highs is incoming. Now, I will take some time here to point out the monthly candle because we are about to close that bad boy out. We're going to have to see how it closes intra-week next week. All right. We don't know how it's going to be closing. Closes on Wednesday. Okay. I think it's on Wednesday. Is it? Right here. It closes on Tuesday. All right. Tuesday right there, guys. Another short trading week next week. Keep that in mind. All right. But we will close this monthly candlestick out on Tuesday. We will see if they can save it. You have a nice long upper wick going on right now. And this is comparative to over here. We haven't had a candlestick print like this on the monthly time frame since over here. So, it's going to be pretty telling. If you close out like this and then NASDAQ does not make a new high the following month, but then S&P 500 does make a new high the following month. That is over here. Okay, S&P 500, I believe, did make the new high, whereas NASDAQ didn't. So so the following month, you could see NASDAQ did not. The S&P 500, though, did the following month. If we see that divergence, we will point out that divergence and we are going to take action off that divergence. I'm not telling you just straight up short the market. That is when you pump the freaking brakes. All right. Everyone's talking about this bear market. I'm telling you guys right now, nothing has really flipped here on these. We're talking about the monthly right here, but nothing has flipped on even the weekly chart. Weekly chart is the macro time frame that I follow along with the higher time frame. Nothing has changed. You got to take out all the way down here. Get towards 570, something will change. Bad things can happen. Till that happens, all right? We're not looking for anything bad to happen. We're just not. When that happens, you pump the brakes. If we see that divergence forming, even if we're up at highs, we will pump the brakes. But as of right now, you got no reason to. Dips remain buying opportunities. All right? So that's by That's QQQ. We're going to come over here to IWM. What do we got cooking over here, all right? Support. You're underneath it. You are underneath it. We're really just going to, honestly, I want to make this as simple as possible for everyone. Take this garbage out. This is your range. Watch the range. You don't got to complicate this, guys. You ain't got to complicate it. All right? You take out 218.07 down here. Look for a test of 215. That's going to be where your golden pocket starts up from this whole advance here. Right down here. You take this out. You're coming down here with all likelihood. You're going to have a bullish divergence on the daily RSI. And your bottom's probably going to be right here before a decent bounce. And you could play this guy. It's your $10+ bounce right there. I told you, expect reactions at the daily moving averages. Not the 9, then the 21. And yesterday we closed right here at the 9. It was also at the zone, which is clearly being treated as supply. If you can get above 226.64, that's when you probably do get a straight up move to 230.55. But honestly, I've been vocal about this ever since this day right here. Focus on the ones that actually have the strength. Focus on the ones that, you know, are actually looking good. I give you plenty of them to pay attention to in these videos. And IWM here, small caps. It just ain't it. It just ain't it, ladies and gents. All right, so real simple. Under 218.07, watch 215. Expect buyers stepping down here. You're going to have the daily bullish divergence. All right, above 226.64, you look for a test of 230.55. We'll have the 21 EMA on the daily time frame right here. Coming over to DIA, same situation as IWM there. The zone is being treated as supply right now. I want to make it real simple. All right. You come down and take out this low over here. All right. Take out that low. You're looking for downside to be limited. You're going to have a bullish divergence here on the daily time frame, which honestly tells me we're probably not getting back down there. Not right now, at least. We're not. All right. Weekly chart. You got the same look that we pointed out here on SPY and QQQ. All right. It's the same exact thing. Get that first green candlestick. Maybe you trade flat and base out for a little bit. Maybe you just move back up. But one thing's for certain. If you're in that uptrend, you're typically not going to be coming back down after that green candlestick. All right, we're not talking about this bear market because I just pointed out we are clear as day still in that weekly uptrend. Last swing low is over here, 416. All right, you get back down here, 416.44. That's when you start, you know, looking, hey, bounces shall be sold. As of right now, you're on that weekly 21. We know that could provide support over here, and we're still in that uptrend. We're also in the golden pocket. All right, but if you see it, all right, maybe you're going to hold this and get a decent bounce out of that. You buy here, you risk over here, because if you lose it, hey, ugly things can happen. But, you know, just sharing my opinions. You have this downtrend. You have a retest today. Get above 433.20. You get bullish up to 438.04. All right, I already shared my thoughts at the beginning of the video over here on Mr. VIX. Large upper wick over here. I think this was just your dead cat bounce before you continue lower, and then you're going to take out 14.27. Those are just my opinions, okay? All this is just my opinion, but I do give the details backing my thesis here on this channel every video. All right, now let's go over the big boys. Tesla, we'll start with you because you're the ugly dog today. All right, increasing volume on that. You closed near the lows. I do have to assume you're probably going to be revisiting this 402.67 to 414.50 zone. I think it will be treated as a buying opportunity. But I will say, not the best weekly close. All right. I was hoping you closed there because it was looking like it was going to start pushing the highs. But at the same time, pull back, give us an opportunity. As everything else runs, maybe Tesla pulls back. Oh, boom. You get to cycle out of some other positions that become winners. And then boom, you have more money for Tesla. And, you know, maybe we get the chance to buy it between 384.29 and 400. Maybe. Who knows? All right. But this daily chart does suggest we're probably going to get on down here. You do have the 21 EMA sitting down there. We know that can provide support. Doesn't always have to provide support if you get underneath it. Guys, we could be retesting 358.64 to 384.29. That was this, you know, level right over here. You can see it clearly here on the monthly time frame. All right. Got a few key levels that we're going to be paying attention to, okay? We don't know which one's going to provide your bounce. I suggest only playing this bad boy with some time, but I will remind everyone, Elon kind of got his, hey, he's got the president's phone number. He could call that. He got a direct line to the president. President is coming in January, late January. I think we're probably still going to see that run up into, late January, maybe early February. I think it can happen, guys. We're not even in January. If it corrects into the beginning of January, then it probably runs up into the end of it. That is your money calling. Microsoft, I told you guys, things aren't looking too shabby. All right. Daily hammer off of the 0.618 fib. You missed it slightly the other day. You came back down to it. And now I think we probably have seen our, bottom get put in today. Pointing out early intraday that I think, downside is limited over here. 4 hour cycle. Again, guys, I'm going to remind everyone, we're in these uptrends. When you're in the uptrends, dips are going to be buying opportunities. Oversold conditions are buying opportunities. It is just how it is. You could argue with me all you want on it, or you could use it to your advantage and realize that that is just how it works. All right? When you're in these downtrends, okay, things can stay oversold. But if you're not in that downtrend and you're either trading flat or you're in an uptrend, the dips, oversold opportunities, are where you long. And it is what it is. No arguing with it. It just is how it is. And right now, we got this aggressive breakout over here, followed by the retracement over here from this whole most recent move. Picture perfect. All right. On the weekly chart, I'll just remind everyone 3 to 4 months of consolidation here. All right. In the same range right here. 3 months. You just broke out. This is like 1 month of breakout. You have week 1, 2 week, 3 week, 4 week. You're retesting the top of that previous range where you had these wicks going on over here. You're retesting the moving averages that you were just dancing around, going in between them. Now I expect them to start providing that support. All right. Going in between them. Boom. Break out of range that you were in over here. Break out of range. You came back into it. You found support off of these weekly moving averages, the 21 and the 9. I think that's probably going to be what we get over here. Okay, so I know that weekly candle isn't the sexiest thing, but you do have this nice daily hammer going on with buyers clearly stepping up exactly where they need to. You also have trend line right there. If you go a little bit lower, that's why I say downside is limited over here. You go a little bit lower, you're going to retest that major trend line. We got a lot of confluence here. I think we probably saw the bottom today, but I'm going to say downside is limited over here on Microsoft. Meta. All right. Look at that. Nice lower wick. They're holding the zone. They're trying to reclaim the zone. On the weekly chart, no, it doesn't look as sexy as it did before. At the end of the day, it's still not looking bad. You're holding the weekly 9. All right. You came back down, held the golden pocket already. All right. And if you're going to actually just, talk golden pockets, you held the next one too. You got buyers right at the 0.618 Fibonacci retracement level, stepping in with a nice lower wick. Now, yes, the God candle at the end of the day saved us all. Every single one of these charts, the God candle is what saved it. That is why I like waiting for the daily closes to start making assumptions. I don't just think the market's going to start falling off a cliff. I like these daily and weekly closes. I like waiting for them. All right. I'm saying we got a lot of daily bullish closes here. A lot of bullish daily closes. All right. Break above 6 to 799 still stands. Thesis still stands. I think you get a straight shot up to 616.89. All right. I do think you're probably going to start chugging along to all-time highs, but you're going to need help from everything else here. Market's going through, a little choppy patch after getting, your aggressive bounce back up after when everybody thought the market was crashing, when it was kind of clear that, even if it was crashing, we're going to get a sick, nasty bounce. All right. And now that we're retracing that, yeah, we're still getting buyers showing up. So I don't think, the market, I don't even think that was just a dead cat bounce. I think, hey, this is your pullback before you really start going. So that's meta for you. Goog, how we looking? Finding buyers off of this previous all-time high zone. Not looking bad at all. Weekly chart, you're still just kind of consolidating here. Looks kind of like Tesla. All right, but you're holding where you gotta. And I will point out, weekly RSI hasn't even gotten to overbought territory. I think we will continue higher. If you pull back, Guys, it's just a buying opportunity. It's nothing to be scared of. I want to point out this one, and then we're going to talk about Apple. Apple hit it with the spinning top candlestick this week. No, it was not the best weekly close. No, you got that extremely low volume. It's okay. We were off, 1.5 days today, or this week, off 1.5 days this week. But at the end of the day, this thing is still in that aggressive uptrend, that aggressive breakout sequence. And if you pull back, it's going to definitely be providing a buying opportunity. There's really no questioning it. That's why I say, I don't think the market's going to be making no crazy decisions here to start moving lower. People are talking about a bear market coming. Guys, just wait for it to pop up. It'll pop up. I pointed out, on the monthly time frames, next month we'll have a cue for hey, we should pump the brakes. We should stop, just buying, full on buying every single dip here. We should pump the brakes. But right now we don't have that cue. Okay? The bear market of 2022, November into December 2021, into January. QQQ did not make the higher high after the monthly candle that we're printing right now. So if we print the monthly candle looking like how it is right now, and then if we fail to go and make a new high next month, but S&P 500 makes the new high next month, that is your divergence. That is what marked the top in 2021 into 2022. And then we had a full year of selling. Okay, so let's keep an eye out. Guys, I'll point out the patterns I'm seeing on these charts, in these videos, on this channel consistently. But you got to give these things time to develop. It's not going to pay to keep, flip-flopping and, just being an emotional roller coaster. It's going to pay to just recognize that these things are there for our benefit and we can easily watch out for them. All right. And we can also just follow the trend and, spot opportunities. That did not sound right. Yeah, fine. Just, moral of the story, we're in an aggressive uptrend. Look for the long opportunities. That is, that's really all you have to do to have a good time. All right. And, I talk about if you're buying options, don't buy short dated options if you're not, an experienced seasoned trader. Even the seasoned traders, you might even struggle with that. I can tell you, I like swing trading. I don't like, day trading options. I don't. Why, I trade futures. I don't have a good time day trading options. You're going to be all over the place. Sometimes to dabble, but at the same time, they're usually just lotto sized. Not usually, they're always lotto sized because I know they're not, the highest probability trades. They're just not. All right. Expand that time horizon. Catch what you see on the weekly and daily time frames, and you're going to have a good time. Daily chart, break and retest off of 254.28. If it does, like I was pointing out, really pull back after the spinning top candlestick over here. All right. We're going to look for it to, find buyers here anywhere between, probably 245 and 250. You can have the weekly 9 sitting right back down here. And again, 5+ months of 4 to 5 months here of consolidation broke out. We're 1 month in. Probably not, coming all the way back down here. If you do sell off here, it's going to go like that. Okay. Probably something like that. Or you just continue higher. Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? Amazon, again, just consolidating as this thing catches up over here. If it pulls back to 215.90, it's clear as day buying opportunity. All right. But what do we tell you? If you don't find buyers off the daily 9, look for buyers off of the 21. Both these provide your reactions here. These are my short-term moving averages that I watch for momentum. And the same, thing on the 15-minute time frame intraday. If things are underneath this thing, don't expect the momentum to be there. Just don't. Short-term momentum, intraday. If you're underneath this thing, see how you were down here? I know, you reclaimed it pretty aggressively, but you see how you danced around these two moving averages right here? Once you got above it, that's when you got, green light. All right. Big move. Shout out to Squid Games 2. Are you guys watching Squid Game Season 2? Started watching it last night. It's not too bad. Not too shabby. All right. But, buyers off of the 21 here, not really looking all that bad. And again, this is why we use the golden pocket. All right. You retrace the whole move. You found sellers in the golden pocket. And then what happened? Did you find buyers in the next golden pocket? Oh, where did they step in? Right there at the 0.786 fib. Golden pocket to golden pocket. Doesn't get easier than that, ladies and gents. It really does not. We'll take this off, though. Take out 229.14. Look for a move up to 233. All right. Now let's talk about chips. You're still stuck in this consolidation. All right. Break this trend line. Chips are probably going flying. All right. Breakdown again. I don't think it'll be a false breakdown. I think you're just going to start breaking it down. Because of how Nvidia, the king, is looking, and Avgo, I don't think this thing's going to be breaking down. You're still finding buyers where they need to step in. You're still holding. It doesn't really look bad. All right. Nice lower wick on the day. Break that trend line. Look for the bigger move. Nvidia over here. Let's talk about the king. All right. Does this not look picture perfect? Big double bottom over here. All right. $30. Did we move $30 from there? No, we did not. So at the end of the day, we're probably still going to make our way up to 160. That's just a measured move from, you know, the smaller side of the double bottom over here. Okay, we didn't even touch that. But you had the aggressive breakout. You didn't have your retest over here. What happened? You pull back in this very controlled manner. And you tap the 0.618 fib from this most recent, you know, move up here. Okay? You can see it clearly on the weekly time frame. Right here, you were consolidating, and you really started that move right here. Hold right back to it. You got the weekly 21 sitting there. But the most important part is you pulled back in this very controlled manner. And you found buyers on the retest of the double bottom that I just pointed out. And if you can't see it, I got you. Right there. Neckline is right here. Do you see, you know, a pattern here? Do you see where buyers decide to step in there? Yeah, because there's demand. Okay? So, you know, very controlled retest here. You've now broken out of that controlled consolidation pattern on the pullback. All right? You broke out of it the other day on Monday. And now you pull back into it and you're printing a hammer candlestick right off of that 136.70 level we pointed out in yesterday's video. Look at that. Look at that. Okay? You held the daily moving averages, but, you know, importantly here on the weekly time frame, guys, you had this nice lower wick here off the 21. And again, the retest zone right here. Double bottom zone. Okay? This high and this high. That is what made up your zone. You had the 0.618 fib. You had the 21. You had the retest of the zone. And you have that nice lower wick going on there with increasing volume. I know you have decreasing volume this week, but we know it was supposed to be decreasing volume. All right? We had a short week. But it does not look bad. It does not look bad. Again, I'll remind everyone, uptrend. Higher, high. Higher than this high over here. Uptrend. Okay? Big double bottom breakout. This is the retest. This thing is very likely going to continue higher. And at least we are going to come up here and test this golden pocket here between 143 and 147. We have not tested that yet. Price shall go higher. I don't know how quick that happens, but price is going higher with all likelihood. That's where the odds are. Okay? Nice lower wick, followed by a candlestick like we got this week. What happened the next week? You went higher. What happened the following week? You went, you know, explosive after that. I think the explosive days over here in Nvidia are over. I'm just going to point that out. I don't know really how this exactly is going to play out. But, you know, since your stock split, you have not had quick price action. All right? You don't have the dynamic for it anymore. The float is massive now. And, yeah, we clearly see price action is slowed. Nonetheless, very sexy setup over here that can take semiconductors higher. Now, this is a chart today that made me think, hey, this thing's probably not going to sell. Like, the broader market's probably not going to be selling off from here. Why? Because look back on this daily chart. You don't see a top that looks like this. It's a very, you know, just look at it like this. Where's that thing? Right there. Okay? Like, you don't get tops like this. You just don't with this formation here. You have this inverse head and shoulders pattern right there. You can just look back. You're not going to see a top that got put in like that. You're just not. It's not going to be that rounded top. It's going to be something like that. All right? So, you know, TSM's ready to go. I'm just saying. You pull back to the daily 9 over here, and you put in a hammer candlestick like a lot of what we got going on here on the charts we just discussed. I think this thing's probably going to break out. probably next week. Break above 208.05, 212.60 is incoming, and then 220. Easy as that. Doesn't get much simpler. MU over here, guys. Still just consolidating, guys. Until you break above 91, don't even watch this thing. Just set your alert like I got over here. You don't need to concern yourself with these things. There are things that are going to be moving. MU is probably not one of them. All right, but 91. Break above there. 95.53 you watch for. ARM over here, guys. Weekly chart. All right, you put in that doji candlestick. Not looking too bad. We'll see what happens next week. Do we get bought up off of this? Probably, but we'll see. We will see. And, you know, I already pointed out here, you have that going on. But on the daily time frame, if you go a little bit lower, all right, follow that arrow, you're going to have the daily RSI oversold. And at that point, we could really see some impulsive price action come back in this thing where within 2 weeks, you know, you do move 30%. And at that point, within 2 weeks, yeah, you can get some really impulsive price action. That would be pretty crazy, okay? You know, just like you got over here. Pretty crazy, 40%. That's about 2 weeks right there. I think that price action is probably right around the corner if you were to, you know, dip down a little lower. And then, you know, boom, it swings back up pretty quick. Either you bounce back from here, you're going to get what I just discussed. Okay, so that is ARM. AVGO over here, guys, without just close out the week, it wants to take out 251.88. I think we're going higher. I do. That I do. All right. On the daily time frame, you can see the nice hammer candlestick we put in today. All right. It's not much, but break above 247.28. You're going to 251.88. All right. But the bigger picture here is on the weekly time frame. This thing does want to engulf the whole wick over here and take out 251.88. New high income probably goes 255, 260. AMD, guys, this one, you know, I'm just going to say, I said don't focus on this thing a few days back. All right. We'll know when the bottom is in. I'm telling you guys right now, maybe I'm falling for it. Maybe I am. I'm not taking a position off this thing. I ain't playing the troll. We've lost enough money over the years on this troll. I don't need to. But yeah, you guys could probably, you know, just see what I see here. You got this inside week. I think maybe you do take out the low over here and put in, you know, a base. Okay, maybe we base out for the next, you know, 2-3 weeks. And then you push up. So it's either going to be that or you just start pushing up from here. And we're going to have to see how this goes. But you did put in this inside week. So I do happen to like this. And I will point out the weekly RSI is kind of, you know, pretty close over here to where you had your major bottom back here in 2022. And you are, you know, I know you got underneath it, but you are dancing right around that 0.786 fib. We know this is where buyers like to step in. All right. So, you know, put it on your radar. I'm not going to be playing it. I think, you know, I give you plenty of, you know, trade ideas that we know probably aren't going to be trolling you. But yeah, AMD is here. I think, you know, maybe we do have a bottom in. Either the bottom is in or you go slightly lower. You tag 116, 117 here. And then you pop back up and you really start moving. And you could get some big boy moves like that going. Okay? So that is that. All right, and I'm just going to point out, guys, Bitcoin, someone asked about in the comments yesterday, so, you know, I'll talk about it, but I've definitely shared my thoughts on why nobody should be really focused on this thing when we have other things that don't look like this. Bitcoin over here, I'm not even talking about this head and shoulders. It's just very clearly, you know, the miners and the Bitcoin stocks were not moving with the thing when it wanted to move up the highs, which means you're going to continue being trolled on these things. You have no reason to touch these things if there's not clean price action on the things that follow Bitcoin. You just don't. You're not going to have a good time. You can trade Bitcoin all you want, but you're not going to have a good time, you know, doing what most of us do and just trade the stocks that follow Bitcoin. You're not going to have a good time. And even on Bitcoin, I don't think you're going to have a good time. All right. I don't know exactly how this is going to play out, but you do definitely have a head and shoulders pattern over here. Neckline is right around this 93.5K mark I have, you know, right over here. You could use the high like I have over here, 93.483K. Okay. If you pull back down to 86.6K over here, low from over here, daily RSI is probably going to be oversold and you're probably going to see a bottom. You probably see a quick buy. I'll point out when I see it, but as of right now, you got no reason to touch this thing. I'll, you know, send an alert right there just so we know about it. Okay. Like you could just see these things, you know, all look crappy and ugly. Like CLSK, I pointed out during this move when you didn't get bought up with Bitcoin on this move right here, there was no reason to touch this thing. Okay. Mara, same thing. This thing should have led to, you know, further upside. It did not. Coin, we had a nasty setup, and guess what? It failed, and it faded. No reason to touch this thing. Okay, and now, you know, you broke a retest off the zone, and now it's being treated as supply. Maybe daily RSI gets oversold over here. Maybe that's where you get a very sick opportunity. And, you know, at that point, Bitcoin's daily RSI is probably also going to be towards oversold territory. And that's when I say it's time to touch it. Right now, you don't have a reason to touch it. All right, maybe even retest this trend line. Maybe it's going to be right here around 250. I'll put an alert there too. Okay. MSTR, you know, when people tell me, like when people that I know don't know anything about the stock market, like, you know, you can, you know, you could have your long-term portfolio, but when I know you just dollar cost average and you know nothing else about the stock market, when they start telling me they're buying these hype stocks, I know the top is probably near for them. That was, you know, MSTR right over here. It was right over here. And I told my community about it. I was like, when this starts happening, you know, typically the top is near. Well, guess what? The thing faded, and I don't think it looks good. I don't think there's any reason to touch this thing. Like, what is this chart? Garbage. Don't touch it. All right. So now let's talk about some things that you might want to touch if you want. It's up to you. Okay. I got some trade ideas for you that I am going to be paying attention to. All right. First things first is Roblox, guys. I do think it's getting ready to move up to the 61.77 high, and then it could have another impulsive leg. All right. So that's number one that I am paying attention to. And then you're going to come over here to Schwab. Schwab over here, guys, you are in the golden pocket. Your daily RSI did already tap 30. All right. And you also are retesting your big breakout level over here after you had this nice earnings gap up. You based, and then boom. All right. You based right here, and then you broke a retest off it. We know this is being respected. It's also being respected right here. If you can get a daily close above 75, I think you're going to start heading up to the 77.17 level. Then 78.71 is on the table. And then you have 80 up here where you broke down from. All right. Oxy, I pointed this out at lower prices. I think it was on this day right here. It was on the last weekly update, I believe. We're watching this trend line. If you could break above the trend line and then you get above 49.91, you're probably going to have a good time. All right. Let's add that right there. Probably going to have a good time, and Oxy could actually get going. Warren Buffett was buying throughout this. I don't think the guy's an idiot. You know, maybe you got to have a longer time horizon, but I do think this thing's probably going to have a recovery right around the corner if you can snap this trend line. You rejected it today. Let me see a daily close above it. We'll start putting it back on the radar, and we might even play this bad boy. HIMS, this is one I am paying attention to. I do think you're going to come back down to these lows over here, all right? But I think you get bought up between, you know, where you did last time over here, all right, last week, and down here at 23.47. What I really like is the weekly chart. Clear as day. You had this inverse head and shoulders pattern, based out over here for a little bit, and then you shot up. And now, this is exactly where the short-term weekly moving averages are. You have 21 to 9. I think you probably get buyers stepping in for a decent sized move here. All right. And I think, you know, this thing can get impulsive like we've seen in the past. So I'm going to be paying attention to it and potentially playing it on this pullback over here with the February or March expiration. I do like it. Okay. And, you know, also kind of have something going on here. Just like that. Okay. So maybe it goes like this. And then maybe it breaks the trend line, and that's when maybe you get the impulsive move. Uber finding buyers today. I don't know if the bottom, I pointed this out the other day. I don't know if you're going to come down here, fill that 58.65 gap, and then bounce up in an aggressive manner. Like something like that. Or if you're just going to break above 63.94, and that was all she wrote for the dip over here, and then you're really going to start moving. I don't know how this is going to go. I really don't. But I can tell you, I think the bottom is right here. It's right around the corner. It's either down here at 58.65 or you're going to take out 63.94 and really start moving here. Then you're going to test 67.12. Once you're over 67.12, you're going to be above this downtrend here. And that point, the thing could really take off to 73.55. So I'm keeping a close eye on it. I think it's right around the corner here. And I am considering this guy just, buying in over here because I think downside is limited over here. And, worst case scenario, you just wait for this break above 63.94. And then you could play, a larger move that probably spawns up. Apple over here, guys. Now we're gonna talk about the big boys that I already mentioned. All right. But I really do like how these things, closed out here with the daily chart over here. All right. Break and retest off of 254.28. I think this probably gets bought back up to the highs. Probably get 260 and then 265 from here, depending on how the market moves. If the market does what I think, and we start seeing a gap up into next week here. All right. On the weekly chart, if we start really seeing this gap up, maybe we open up right over here. If we open up, we're going to say above 525. I think this thing is probably just going to start moving straight up. All right. You open at 525. It's only a 1% move to the top of, this week's upper wick. It's not too bad. All right. So in that case, I think Apple's going to start moving straight back up to the highs, 260 and 265. Microsoft, I already pointed this out. I pointed out why I like it. You're revisiting the top of this range over here on the weekly chart. You have the weekly moving averages right there. You have the golden pockets in right here. You have where you broke out from right over here. You have the nice lower wick today with that hammer candlestick on increasing volume. I like how this thing looks. All right. I'm looking for upside from here. Or worst case scenario, you come back and retest this trend line. You got a lot of confluence in right here. AMD, I already pointed it out. Weekly chart, except I don't really want to play this. All right. I like the look of it, but at the same time, I just know myself and how I've had my experience with this guy over the years. And I really, can't say I've had a good time most of the time. So I'm just going to put it on your radar. All right. And I'm not touching it. I'm sticking Nvidia. I think Nvidia is set to still go. All right. But inside a week over here, I like how that's looking. We'll talk about Nvidia. I already point out, all right, all the confluence we had going on over there. On the daily time frame specifically, you retested the top of this falling wedge with a hammer candlestick and these daily moving averages. If you can now take out today's high, all right, or Friday's high at 139.02, that's when I think you're probably going to get a straight shot up to 141.90. And then we're going to enter this golden pocket. And we're going to have to see what happens here, because if you can take out 146.54 and you get above 147.50, we'll call it, you really can just start going into, straight up mode. All right. So we're going to have to see how this plays out. But I do definitely like the setup going on over here. Very bullish with the retest over here in a controlled manner. And you found buyers in the exact perfect spot over here. And now it's kind of moving and grooving. If you can take out this previous high over here, that's when, here on the weekly chart. All right. That's when, this thing really is going. And you probably don't stop right here at 152.89. You probably are going to go to that 160 level I mentioned before off the measured move over here from this double bottom. All right. So that's that. I'll also point out, you got a double bottom sitting right here too. Right there. Neckline is right here. All right. We're going to take that leg up to here. That's $8.50. Did we go $8.50? No. $8.50 brings us all the way like up here. Okay. Up here, 145. Probably incoming. TSM, guys, I still think this is the most obvious one right here. All right. That in Nvidia is the most obvious to me. I don't know, why it's taking so long, but at the same time, it is what it is. We can't control the market. Anybody who gets tight about, the market doing something and it's going to get mad at someone online, I think you just haven't had enough experience of the game. And I think if you keep with that attitude, you're never really going to have a good time until you ditch that attitude. All right. The market will do what it wants to, and it's your job to adjust. But, real talk, you can't control the market. It's going to take its time. And that's why I say, like, short dated option guys, they're kind of a nightmare for 99.9% of people, because people don't acknowledge what I just said. They don't. And they try and act like, oh, the market is always going to be perfect for them at all times. It's not, guys. But if you expand your time horizon on the options you're trading, you're going to have such a better time. You're going to have such a better time. All right? Like, this is a beautiful chart right here. This is a beautiful chart right here. Okay? If you just add the February, March expiration, this little pullback, it's not making you go off a freaking cliff. All right? You're not losing your mind. You may have even bought more on this dip this morning. And I'm for this guy over here. Come on, load. And I'm for this guy. These are the guys that, I'm willing to get heavy into here. if you give me what I want over here on Tesla, I really like this guy. And, you know, a little quick, don't go heavy into this thing. Please don't. Don't even. I played a little lotto on it today. Don't go heavy at all into this thing. Don't you dare. Don't you dare. All right. But the quantum theme is still up and running here. You have not taken out all-time highs. I think you are going to take out these all-time highs. All right. 1323. I like how this closed. But specifically this chart, and that was Nvidia, that was TSM, and now it's Tesla. These are the ones that, you know, I think they're going to pay big to go big on. All right. So give me a little bit more of a pullback over here. We're going to get pretty heavy into this market, but specific on the tickers, on these focus tickers that I really think are setting up. And I think are going to do very well. I do think you're going to get to 500 and 550 over here on Tesla. All right. But, you know, real talk, I do like those three charts specifically out of everything I showed you in this video, way more than everything else. Okay. I really do like this chart. I think it's so obvious, crystal clear. All right. I think this is so obvious, crystal clear. And if Tesla gives you the pullback to where I pointed out earlier, all right, between 358.64, 384.29, crystal clear, obvious, clear as day, that's a buy. Okay. Tesla wave is not over. You just made new all-time highs. This thing wants to keep pushing. It wants to keep pushing. All right. With that being said, ladies and gents, I will catch y'all in the next one. Peace.